Hello, I'm Kelly and today we'll be looking at LinkedIn. This video will introduce you to LinkedIn and briefly cover the following: how to use it as a research tool to explore your options and interests, how to build a profile and develop your online brand, how to build your digital network, and how to search for opportunities and be seen by employers. Throughout the session, I'm going to be recommending that you look at one particular resource called LinkedIn for Students, and I've provided the link here. It has a great set of slide decks, videos, and some fantastic top tips, so please do take a look. When we talk about LinkedIn, we're really thinking more broadly about the digital footprint that you have now. A digital footprint or a digital shadow refers to one's unique set of traceable digital activities, actions, contributions, and communications manifested on the internet or on digital devices. Your footprint is your online reputation, and employers will use it to gain first impression of you. Blogs, tweets, and participation in online communities such as LinkedIn are all looked at by employers. We want you to think about how you can use platforms like LinkedIn to harness the message that employers will see about you. So a question: as an employer, how do I find you? So here's a wide selection of different digital platforms. Think about the digital platforms that you use now. Which ones are you maybe not aware of, and how are you using them? Are they largely social, to network, to share, to research, or something else? Despite the name, social media isn't all about keeping up with friends and family. It's also used for career networking, and it's a vital part of job hunting. But comparing social media channels is like comparing apples to oranges. While Facebook is generally used for social networking, LinkedIn is used for job networking. Of all the social media networks, recruiters use LinkedIn the most. Around 87% use LinkedIn to recruit skilled candidates. In comparison, about 55% use Facebook, and roughly 47% use Twitter. In this TED Talk by Wuhan Enriquez, he talks about your online life as permanent as a tattoo. So take a closer look at his TED Talk. It's fascinating. He says that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if someone you knew described you to someone that you'd never met? What do you think they'd say? Think about these questions. What was the last thing you posted online? What does it say about you now? How might it be interpreted in 10 years' time? What did you post 3 or 5 years ago? And what does this say about you now? So dare to Google yourself and see what you find. It's useful to know what's out there about you, because potential employers will be searching for you and seeing that too. So take control of that online presence and think about what else you would like to share about yourself. So let's have a look at some stats around LinkedIn. So did you know that LinkedIn has around 575 million users, and 25 million of those are in the UK? There are now 40 million students and recent graduates now on LinkedIn. It's the fastest growing demographic, and 70,000 of these are York alumni. Facebook may be the largest social networking site in the world today, but LinkedIn is used for job networking. Of all the social media networks, as I've mentioned, recruiters use LinkedIn the most. Around 87% use it to recruit skilled candidates. 78% of employers say that they've been negatively influenced towards a candidate's inappropriate use of social media. So the information we display on social networks should actively encourage rather than discourage potential employers. But it's important that you don't opt out from social media. Finding nothing about a person can create a negative impression too. And you can see the source there was from JobVeat in 2019, and I've provided the link so that you can take a closer look. So for the rest of the session, we're going to cover the following: LinkedIn as a research tool, developing your LinkedIn profile and getting seen by employers, building a network, and searching for opportunities. So let's start with LinkedIn as a research tool. It's a fantastic research tool. As things are changing, so might your interests and ideas. So you can search for graduates, employers, sectors, or keywords and see who works where. Look at other people's profiles and their career journeys and job titles to date, and get tips on keywords for your own profile. The Alumni tab allows you to find out about York graduates and how they've used their degree. This is a great way of exploring your own options and thinking about how others have used their degree. You can see what subject they've studied, where they work, who they work for, what they do, and what they're skilled at. So you can see here the York Alumni tab. Simply search for the University of York in the top right search box and go to the Alumni tab to take a closer look. The keyword search tool allows you to search and follow employers, people or influencers linked to your interests, groups linked to sectors, professions or wider interests. So start by following a few employers or groups, and then start to get a bit braver by joining discussions, asking questions, or sharing your own work which reflects your interests and passions. This is an example of an employer search. So I searched for civil service fast stream, and you'll see some great resources on their pages about application processes, latest opportunities and other updates. And they're in a mixture of formats, including videos, blogs, and articles. So let's move on to number 2, which is developing your profile. So now is a good time to create or update your CV or profile. So particularly for LinkedIn, where photos are appropriate, start to think about getting a really nice professional photo. And there's also the option to also include a banner image. Then think about crafting an interesting about section. So the about section is the section at the start of your profile. So it's a bit of an introduction to you. So start with something strong and catchy. Don't be afraid to inject some personality in this bit and add some context to your career story to date. Utilize as much of the word limit or the character limit as you can so that you're really making the best of that section. Thinking about the wider profile more generally, has it got all the keywords that are related maybe to the industry or the roles of interest that you're particularly wanting to target your profile for? If you're not quite there yet, just start to think about some of the keywords that you would like to use to tell your story. Join groups, update your interests and skills, and look at as many profiles as you can to get some tips and start to think about some of the keywords that they're using to talk about their experiences so far. Again, going back to the LinkedIn for Students resources that I suggested at the beginning, you'll see in there that they've got a great section on building a great student profile. So take a closer look. Here's an example of one of our graduates called Lewis McDowell and how he's developed his profile over time. So take a closer look at that, but also listen to Lewis in one of our podcasts talking about how he's used LinkedIn as he started to develop and broaden his network, his professional network. So going on to number 3, which is around building that network then. Who do you think you could be networking with and connecting with? Start with people that you know, friends, course mates, Facebook friends, employers from part-time jobs or internships, volunteering contacts, extracurricular activity contacts, any employers that you might have met, through different events that you've maybe been involved in, and then move into your fields of interest. So like a company page that fits with your interests. Target the types of organisations that you're particularly interested in following. Read about a group before you join and aim to join maybe 2 or 3 groups. Search for companies, see who they employ, and make connections. Search for professions, for example, digital marketing, and start to locate groups and professionals within those. Again, by starting with a profession or a particular type of job, it might unearth organisations that you'd never heard of before. The more connections that you have, the more you'll be able to leverage your network to help you in your job search. 2 tips. Tip 1, as you're connecting with someone, always write a personalised invitation rather than sticking with the standard that LinkedIn suggests. Tip 2, aim for around 50 connections and then start to explore your second connection. So who are your friends connected with? And do their connections link with some of the interests that you have? Let's move on to number 4, which was around searching for opportunities. So there should be something for everyone within LinkedIn, because we know that 150 plus industries are represented on LinkedIn. So there should be something that links with the sectors and the areas of interest that you're particularly looking for. We have 20 million plus active company profiles. So that's companies that are in there and posting interesting stuff around opportunities, and also things around how their industry and their organisation might be changing. So they're active and in LinkedIn. And around 7 million plus jobs advertised, and that's obviously changing all the time. So LinkedIn is key to finding out about who is hiring now, and that's the biggest question that students are currently asking us. So select jobs in the open search tool, where you can start to search for jobs. You can set job alerts. You can search for jobs by role or review postings by preferred employers. And then you can start to save those jobs and follow links to apply. And here's a screenshot of what that jobs tab looks like. Again, going back to the LinkedIn for Students resources, you will find in there a fantastic resource around finding jobs, graduate jobs and internships. So do take a closer look. And finally, let's think about your next steps. So do start by thinking about what it is that you want to tell employers about yourself. What else would you like to be telling an employer about in the next 6 months? Write this down and then start to create or add to your LinkedIn profile. Aim to connect with 10 people outside of the university and start to use some of the careers resources that are available to you now. So I've provided there a link to our applications pages, as well as our support pages, which will take you through to how to book an appointment. And within an appointment, you can talk to an advisor and ask them to review your LinkedIn profile and get some feedback. So what we've covered today is a brief introduction to LinkedIn, where we've looked at what employers will be able to see about you, how to use LinkedIn to research your career interests, how to develop your profile and network, and lastly, how to search for opportunities using LinkedIn. So take a closer look at the platform and the resources that I've shared with you to help you navigate that and start to have a go. Hope you found today useful. Goodbye.